chips.
Alrighty, I believe we're live.
You see it?
Right. It said it was blocked or something. Content, like, not able to find.
Alright, welcome back to another Bible study. Tonight we're doing Daniel chapter 2. We got more people here tonight, so we're really excited to dive into God's Word. Real quick, we're going to do Daniel 3 tomorrow, and then Friday, either me or Evan will be doing a study. I don't really know which one of us is doing it yet. But either me and Evan will be doing a study Friday. And, yeah. Has anybody got anything they want to say before we get started?
Was the Lions game yesterday, or is heavily?
Yesterday was like the setting.
We'll do a little breakdown of chapter 1. All right. King Nebuchadnezzar, he is the king of Babylon. Basically, Babylon laid siege to the kingdom of Judah, which is the tribe of Judah, which is the tribe of David. And beforehand, we see in 1st, 2nd Kings that Judah gets basically like separated from the other 11 tribes. So there's 11 tribes, and then there's the tribe of Judah. So the tribe of Judah has Jerusalem and everything. So Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar, he lays siege to Jerusalem, and in doing so, he takes people of nobility, and he told his chief to put them in basically a training program. And out of those people, we get to look at 4 of them: Daniel, Hananiah, Daniel, Mishael, and Azariah, and they are Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And then, so the chief gives all of them food to eat of basically the king's food and wine. But Daniel, he was like, you know what, I'm not going to defile myself in eating the king's food and drinking the wine. So he told the chief of the king, he said, I'm not gonna eat this food. I'm not gonna drink this. And then the chief was like, well, I fear my king. So I don't know what you want me to do. So Daniel said, basically just watch us for 10 days and see how our health does. And we'll only eat vegetables and water. So after 10 days, it says that they were basically fatter in flesh than everyone else after those 10 days. So God basically was watching after Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and brought favor to them and made them healthier, fatter. And then it says, like in verse 17, like they were more knowledgeable, had more understanding, had more wisdom than every other person basically in the program for like teaching people of nobility. And then we're now in chapter 2. Hard. Yep.
Alrighty. Does anybody have anything they want to say about this chapter, or even some of the last chapter that we missed? Or if you missed it, if there's anything you want to say about that too. One thing I thought was cool about last night was how all of this that's happening right now is foreshadowed in Isaiah. In chapter 39, verse 7, God says, "And some of your sons who will come for you, whom from your father shall be taken away, and shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon." King of Babylon being Nebuchadnezzar. and the sons being taken away being all the people that they took from Judah. So I just thought that was cool that it kind of foreshadows what's going on in Daniel all the way back in Isaiah.
I can
assumption.
I can read 1 through 16.
Go ahead.
Now in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams, and his spirit was troubled, and his sleep left him. Then the king said to call in the magicians, the conjurers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dreams. So they came in and stood before the king. Then the king said to them, I had a dream, and my spirit is troubled. Then the Chaldeans spoke to the king in Aramaic, O king, live forever. Say the dream to your servants, and we will declare the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the word for me is firm. If you do not make known to me the dream and its interpretation, you will be torn limb from limb, and your houses will be made a rubbish heap. But if you declare the dream and its interpretation, you will receive from me gifts and a reward and great glory. Therefore declare to me the dream and its interpretation. They answered a second time and said, let the king say the dream to his servants, and we will declare the interpretation. The king answered and said, I know for certain that you are buying time, inasmuch as you have seen the word from me is firm, that if you do not make the dream known to me, there is only one law for you. Indeed, you have agreed together to speak lying and corrupt words before me until the time is changed. Therefore, say the dream to me, that I may know that you can declare to me its interpretation. The Chaldeans answered king and said, there is not a man on earth who is able to declare the matter. For the king, inasmuch as no great king or powerful ruler has ever asked about a matter like this of any magician, conjurer, or Chaldean. Moreover, the matter which the king asked is difficult, and there is no one else who could declare it to the king except God, whose dwelling place is not with the flesh. Because of this, the king became indignant and very furious, and said for them to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. So the law went forth that the wise men were to be killed, and they sought out Daniel and his friends to kill him. Then Daniel replied with discretion and discernment to Arioch, the captain of the king's bodyguard, who had gone forth to kill the wise men from Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, a powerful official for the king, for what reason is the law from the king urgent? Then Arioch made the matter known to Daniel. So Daniel went in and sought from the king that he would give him time in order that he might declare the interpretation to the king. Nice. I mean, I think that pretty much explained everything that was going on.
Yeah, I was about to say. So is this just kind of like an overview?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can just keep going.
I can get the next few. We'll go until
30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then Daniel went to his house and told his friends Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah about the matter, urging them to ask the God of the heavens for mercy concerning this mystery, so Daniel and his friends would not be destroyed with the rest of Babylon's wise men. And the mystery was then revealed to Daniel in a vision at night. And Daniel praised the God of the heavens and declared, may the name of God be praised forever and ever, for wisdom and power belong to him. He changes the times and seasons. He removes kings and establishes kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals the deep and hidden things. He knows what is in the darkness, and light dwells with him. I offer thanks and praise to you, God of my ancestors, because you have given me wisdom and power, and now you have let me know what we ask of you, for you have let us know the king's mystery. Therefore Daniel went to Arioch, whom the king had assigned to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He came and said to him, don't destroy the wise men of Babylon. Bring me before the king, and I will give him the interpretation. Then Arioch quickly brought Daniel before the king and said to him, I have found a man among the Judean exiles who can let the king know the interpretation. The king said in reply to Daniel, Whose name was Belteshazzar? Oh, wait. Whose name was Belteshazzar? Are you able to tell me the dream I had and its interpretation? Daniel answered the king, no wise man, medium, magician, or diviner is able to make known to the king the mystery he asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and he has let King Nebuchadnezzar know what will happen in the last days. Your dream and the visions that came into your mind as you lay in bed were these. Your Majesty, while you were in your bed, thoughts came to your mind about what will happen in the future. The revealer of mysteries has let you know what will happen. As for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because I have more wisdom than anyone living, but in order that the interpretation might be made known to the king, and that you may understand the thoughts of your mind.
Again, I think that was just pretty straightforward.
I like that. I like this,
I like
bro.
the part where he said,
Yeah.
however, there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He said no one on earth could figure this out, and I couldn't figure this out. However, there is a God who can.
Yeah, I think this is very what's the word? Obvious, but obviously 20 and through 23. I mean, they obviously stand out. I mean, that's just praise.
Yeah. No, one thing I've been learning recently is I mean, every time I listen to a John Piper sermon, it always ends with the same: God is most glorified when we are most Him.
You lagged out.
So basically,
God is most glorified when?
God is most glorified when we are most satisfied in Him.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically in our happiness of God, when God is our most prized, He is our joy, He is the everything we hold dear. That is when we truly worship Him. And today I heard John Piper say, if our worship is not because we are most satisfied, we are not happy with God, He is not our absolute joy, then it is not worship. Worship is basically like an overflow of praise and love that we feel when we are joyful in God. So like Daniel here, he just received a mystery from God, and he knew that only God could give him that. And because of that, he's saying, may the name of God be praised forever and ever. He's like, I give thanks to you because you have revealed this to me. So basically, he is satisfied with God, and he is acknowledging that God is the only way he could possibly do anything. God is his joy, his salvation. So he's releasing praise to God. He's worshiping God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Well, where are we at, Daniel?
Chapter 2, verse 31 is what we're about to read.
Alrighty.
We were just talking about verse 20 through 23 right there.
Okay, hold on one second.
That's right.
Yeah.
Alright, does anybody else have anything they want to say on the last verses?
I shall go.
You reading? Okay, Evan's gonna read.
You behold, which was large and of extraordinary splendor, was rising up in front of you. Its appearance was awesome. The head of that image was made of fine gold, its breast and its arms of silver, its belly and its thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. You continued looking until a stone was cut without hands, and it struck the image on its feet of iron and clay and crushed them. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were crushed all at the same time and became like chaff from the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away so that not a trace of them was found. But the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This was the dream, and now we will say its interpretation before the king. You, O king, are the king of kings, to whom the God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power, the strength, and the glory. And wherever the sons of men inhabit, or the beasts of the field, or the birds of the sky, he has given them into your hand and has made you rule with power over them all. You are the head of gold, but after you there will arise another kingdom inferior to you, and another third kingdom of bronze, which will rule with power over all the earth. Then there will be a fourth kingdom as strong as iron, inasmuch iron crushes and shatters all things. So like iron that breaks in pieces, it will crush and break all these in pieces. Now that you saw the feet and toes partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it will be divided kingdom. But it will have in the toughness of iron, inasmuch you saw the iron mixed with common clay. And as the toes of the feet were partly iron and partly clay, so some of the kingdom will be strong and part will be brittle. And in that you saw the iron mixed with common clay, they will combine with one another in the seed of men, but they will not cling to one another, even as iron does not combine with clay. And in the days of those kings, the God of heaven will cause a kingdom to rise up which will never be destroyed, and that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, but it will itself stand forever. Inasmuch you saw that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it crushed the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold. The great God has made known to the king what will happen in the future. So the dream is certain, and its interpretation is trustworthy. I'll just keep going. I'll finish it. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and did homage to Daniel, and said for them to present to him an offering and fragrant incense. The king answered Daniel and said, Truly your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of mysteries, since you have been able to reveal this mystery. He promoted Daniel and gave him many great gifts, and he made him rule with power over the whole province of Babylon and chief prefect over all the wise men of Babylon. And Daniel sought of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the administration of the province of Babylon, while Daniel was at the king's court. Nice. I'm used to saying Babylonian, like Babylonian people.
So the let's see. Thou, O King, art a King of Kings, for the God of. I'm reading the King James on my phone. For the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven. I'm trying to find where I was asking the question. Oh, and after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all these kingdoms. What I'm basically getting to, all these kingdoms. The fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall break it in pieces and bruise. Is the fourth kingdom talking about the kingdom of God?
No, the one that reigns forever and ever will be the kingdom of God.
Yeah, that's the fourth.
Look,
isn't it?
verse 24, he talks about the kingdom of God.
Yeah, 44.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see it now. Okay. So, man, this King James is so confusing. Okay.
No, I don't know if one of those is it about like the Roman Empire, obviously. One of them is obviously the Roman Empire, and we see later in Daniel it talks about like horns and stuff, and how it's a bunch of kings that rise up and fall and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that talks about the Roman Empire and just like the Caesars and stuff like that. So I would think that the iron here would be
The Roman.
just like Roman. Yeah.
Yeah. It is the Roman Empire. My study Bible has some notes on it. It says the legs of iron represented Rome, and the silver chest and 2 arms represented the Medo-Persian Empire.
Yeah.
And I think Greece is in there somewhere.
Mine said something about that. Where was
The belly and thighs of bronze were Greece and Macedonia under the Alexander the Great conquered the Medo-Persian Empire.
Nice. That's so cool, though.
Yeah, so, what is it meaning when it's talking about the clay and the iron don't mix? Is it talking about 2 kingdoms? They just...
Yeah.
I'm confused here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really super knowledgeable about the fall of the Roman Empire, basically, but
Yeah.
but I'm sure you could like figure out the history of it, and it would make more sense. On like one part of it is like traditional, and then another part's like I don't know.
Rome fell because of corruption and the division of the empire, and it was an invasion by the Germanic tribes.
Yeah.
So they were trying to mix.
Yeah, so basically, I don't figure iron and clay mix, right?
Ooh. Yeah. I take it as the clay is the weaker part of the strong or of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Where does it talk about the stone that's cut without hands? Oh, it's 45.
What are you talking about? I was using the bathroom. I just came out of the bathroom. Where's Evan at?
Oh, goodness.
And it crushed.
You said verse 45 talking about the stone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's talking about Jesus destroying the last kingdom and setting up the kingdom of God.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's just common sense, but I think this is kind of just trying to show, like, I guess how strong God's kingdom is. 'Cause he's talking about how like all of these other kingdoms fell, and they thought they would never fall, and it's just saying that God's kingdom will never fall.
Yeah.
Facts. And then I would also want to point out, like, this makes me think a lot of Joseph in Genesis. Like, I just noticed, like, when these people in the Bible have faith in God, he typically puts them in great positions, you know? Like, Daniel became pretty much a ruler, and it was all because of his faith in God. Now, I know some stuff is going to go down here in the future, but God even carries them out of that, too, so.
One thing that, whenever you said that, I think that when Jesus said faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. So, that's all it takes.
Yeah, like Joseph had faith in God, and he became the ruler of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And then Daniel became a ruler as well. It's just shows you what faith can do, or what God can do with your faith.
Before anything even happened to them, before like any powerful thing happened in their life, Daniel, he basically had his home destroyed and he got taken into captivity, and then Joseph, he got sold into slavery and was basically in prison for a while.
Yeah,
before he was even able to show like God's power. And like you just see throughout the Bible, like there's people who are thoroughly beaten down before they're like are showing the power of God, basically.
yeah.
Abraham was a merchant traveler.
Yeah.
I think that one's the coolest.
Moses was the grandson of Pharaoh and killed a man. I mean,
What about like the Book of Job?
Oh,
yeah, look
man.
at Job, bro.
Yeah.
Man, you going through a hard time, read Job.
Yeah, bro does not have it well.
Not at all.
That's something that really got me through a family member passing, honestly, the Book of Job. I mean, that really helped me a lot.
Yeah. Is that just your season of life?
Oh my God, I'm joking, bro.
Dude.
We were talking about in 45, the rock cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands. I think this is a representation of Jesus. Him being the stone cut out of a mountain without hands. And this stone is represented as like a supernatural thing. And like the birth of Jesus was kind of a supernatural thing in a way. I don't know. I just think it represents Jesus. But that could be just my interpretation of it.
No, my study Bible says, the stone cut without hands that destroyed the last kingdom represents Jesus Christ, who at his return will destroy Gentile world power and set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed.
Oh, you finally took the Bible out of the case, Joe.
Joe, I almost bought you a Bible study or Bible case the other day, just so you could take it out of that box, man.
I like them without the case. I've just been.
I was about to say that, Joe. I got mine in the box right now.
Yeah.
No, I just put mine in case because whenever I went to New York, I put it in my backpack. I didn't want to like mess up.
How was your trip, by the way?
Man, it was good. It was good. It was good.
Good.
How was the flight?
I lived.
Was that your first time
man.
ever flying?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Is that turbulent something else or what?
Evan probably pooped his pants when he got that
No, man.
turbulence, bro.
I did slightly. Yeah. I feel my stomach drop, and I'm like, whoa, now. Hold up.
It's like a drop.
Not going down, we're going up. It literally, no, it's like a roller coaster. Like, you know, you go straight down the roller
How
coaster.
many times your ears pop going on the way up?
Dude, I got to the today we had to go really high because the wind was so bad. We went to like 36,000 feet. Couldn't even, my ears wouldn't pop when I got to the very top. Like, they popped so much. And then they get to the top and just like, are like on the verge of popping and wouldn't pop. And it was like driving me insane. Yeah. But on the way there, it wasn't bad. But today, when we went that high, I felt like we were almost in space. You gonna start floating away.
Yeah, when I flew international, we got really high as well. That picture you sent earlier above.
I don't think I'll ever fly in my life.
I figured
You
you'd
want
say
to do it.
something like that, Spur.
I'm so
You've never
scared,
flown
bro.
before, Spur?
No,
Dude, when
I
you
haven't.
fly, I swear
That's
to you,
crazy, bro.
if it's more than 4 hours, I'm trying to hop on a plane. It was
I'm
awesome, dude.
terrified. I'm terrified, bro.
Dude, yeah. It took me an hour to get to Miami from Atlanta in my
Dude.
flight. It was sick.
I would be 10 hours away still if I drove. Like, I'm already at home.
Yeah. Well, was there anything else we wanted to say about the Bible study? I feel like we had it
chapter.
tomorrow, probably.
Bro, I said we go and do it.
Oh,
If we want
I
to go
thought
ahead
you were
and do
asking when.
it, we can go ahead and do it. But that's up to y'all.
I'm down. Because I just got here. Oh, yes, I'm down.
So we do it.
I heard the breakdown, but I didn't get to hear the read through. Yeah.
I got it.
You just.
Alright, well, if everybody is set on it, we can go ahead and start Daniel 3.
All right, Nathan, why don't you read the whole chapter again?
Yeah, Nathan, let's do
Nebuchadnezzar the king was made an image of gold. The height was 60 cubits, and its width was 6 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent word to assemble the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, and the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the satraps, the prefects, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, and the magistrates, and all the rulers of the provinces were assembled for the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they were standing before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the herald loudly called out, "To you it is said, O people, nations, and men of every tongue, that at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all kinds of music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. But whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into the midst of the furnace of blazing fire. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all kinds of music, all the people, nations, and men of every tongue fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up."
Uh-oh.
I can keep going.
So
For this,
they're worshiping a false god, right? They're not worshiping a statue of God. That's
No, yeah, it's basically just a random golden
Yeah.
statue we made.
Okay.
bro.
I thought it was a statue of him.
It could be possible that it is of him, but it's probably just like something like Baal or something like that.
I also
I mean,
thought
not
it was of
actually-
him. Like, just growing up,
Hold on.
I thought it was of him.
It says the motive for setting up the image seems to have been to unify the kingdom to promote the authority of the king. So it may not have represented Nebuchadnezzar physically, but it could have been an obelisk. It could have
Okay.
been a distorted figure. So who knows?
What I take from that though is you think like it almost just shows like it's sort of flexing his power, because if he's like, okay, I'm about to get this whole city to go worship this right now whenever I want them to, basically, I'm the king. Like that just shows that I can get them to do whatever they want.
Well, the way I take it is he's doing this out of fear because he knows his kingdom
You cut out.
He's king. That's all we heard.
is going to crumble because of his dream. Oh, his kingdom's going to crumble because of his dream. So he's doing it out of fear, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. He was the gold head, was he not?
Yeah.
So he made a gold statue, huh? Look at that. I'll get it. Don't you start bringing in, bro. All right. Some Chaldeans took this occasion to come forward and maliciously accuse the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "May the king live forever. You as king have issued a decree that everyone who fears the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, drum, and every kind of music must fall down and worship the gold statue. Whoever does not fall down and worship will be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. There are some Jews you have appointed to manage the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men have ignored you, the king. They do not serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up." Then, in a furious rage, Nebuchadnezzar gave orders to bring in Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king. Nebuchadnezzar asked them, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is it true that you don't serve my gods or worship the gold statue I've set up? Now, if you're ready when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, drum, and every kind of music, fall down and worship the statue I made. But if you don't worship it, you will immediately be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. And who is the God who can rescue you from my power?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, "Nebuchadnezzar, we don't need to give you an answer to this question. If the God we serve exists, then he can rescue us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he can rescue us from the power of the king. But even if he does not rescue us, we want you as king to know that we will not serve your gods or worship the gold statue you set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with rage, and the expression on his face changed towards Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He gave orders to heat the furnace 7 times more than customary, and he commanded some of the best soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the furnace of blazing fire. So these men, in their trousers, robes, head coverings, and other clothes, were tied up and thrown in the furnace of blazing fire. Since the king's command was so urgent and the furnace extremely hot, the raging flames killed those men who carried up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell, bound, into the furnace of blazing fire. Then the king, Nebuchadnezzar, jumped up in alarm. He said to his advisors, "Didn't we throw 3 men bound into the fire?" "Yes, of course, your majesty," they replied to the king. He exclaimed, "Look, I see 4 men, not tied, walking around in the fire unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." Nebuchadnezzar then approached the door of the furnace of blazing fire and called, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of the Most High God, come out." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. When the satraps, prefects, governors, and the king's advisors gathered around, they saw that the fire had no effect on the bodies of these men. Not a hair of their heads was singed, their robes were unaffected, and there was no smell of fire on them. Nebuchadnezzar exclaimed, "Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel and rescued his servants who trusted in him. They violated the king's command and risked their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore I issue a decree that anyone of any people, nation, or language who says anything for the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will be torn limb from limb and his house made a garbage dump. For there is no other God who is able to deliver like this." Then the king rewarded Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
My goodness.
So, here's my thing. How does the guy at the end of chapter 2 go from praising Daniel's God, praising God, and then immediately in chapter 3, he's like, all right, everybody has to worship this statue?
Well, to
It's
him,
probably not like the next day. Like, we don't know how long happened between these chapters.
well, I think even
Yeah.
if it was the next day, to him, he's a pagan, so he basically worships as many gods as he wants. So
I got
for
you.
him to see a god of Daniel, to him he thinks that's just another god. He's like,
Hey,
this
God,
one's
yeah.
cool. He's like, this one's pretty cool. So then he's like, well, I have more, and then he just sets up a statue and he's like, worship these gods as well.
And he's still like that even at the end. Because he says, "Therefore I make a decree to any people or tongue or nation that says anything offensive against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego." So he's still like polytheistic. Like, he's probably at this point just thinking like in the same way that the Romans and the Greeks do, that there's like, a god of the harvest, a god of war, a god of, happiness, all that stuff. Like, at that time, these people are just coming up with their own stuff 24/7. So I'm sure he's like, "Oh, this isn't one that I've heard of before."
Yeah.
Man, could not imagine.
Imagine being the 3 guys that get thrown into the fire, and then you're just completely fine.
I couldn't
You're
imagine
just,
being
it's
Nebuchadnezzar,
right
bro.
here. Or that. Yeah, I mean that too. Yeah, you throw
I'm
these
just
guys
fucking
and you're like,
threw 'em
"Oh,
in the
these
fire."
guys are about to get." Yeah, I was going to say, these guys are about to get destroyed, and then they come out fine, and you're like, "Oh, frick."
And you see what looks like the Son of God helping them.
Pre-incarnate Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's,
All right, I'm going to steal something that Nathan told me quite a while ago, I guess. All right, put yourself in this situation, not necessarily in a blazing furnace, but somebody is questioning your faith, and they say, "Deny your God or you die." You'll probably not deny God, and you'll die for God. But then, if you're willing to die for God, then there should also be a willingness to live for God. So if you're willing to die for your beliefs because you were so firm on it, why do you not
live for him.
live for them? Yeah, necessarily cut out things that God does not want for you and live for God.
That's very well said.
I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't.
It's
Very
crazy.
well
I
said.
came up with that too. Like I remember watching a video and I came up with that.
Oh my goodness.
The Lord gave it to you, Nathan.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, you got to stand on business, whether it's life or death.
Agreed.
That was good.
Yes, it was.
Amen. All right.
Y'all boys got anything else?
I don't.
I enjoyed it, boys.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Are you guys wanting to do another one tomorrow?
I'm
Yeah,
down.
we can-
I'm down.
Sick. Like I said, I'm back officially, so I should be able to get back in the swing of things. So
Yeah,
I might be gone. I might be at my in person. I probably will be.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna be here at the in person. I'm not sure.
I'll probably join y'all.
Hey,
where's the in person? I might go to that. I've not been to that before.
It's off of Salem Road.
Mineral Bluff.
Yeah.
The general area.
All right.
All right, fellas, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, boys.
And that one closes out.
I'll get it. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.